Hey, it's Nick Zaccarelli with Birch Grove Stone and Garden. I'm here with Jerry Ferraro and Maggie Slivinski from Forging Fitness in Wallingford and Blue Ox Axe Throwing in Wallingford and Bridgeport.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, we were just talking about both those locations. I was asking because I know you guys, with the axe throwing place, you opened up a second location.
Yep.
So that was down in Bridgeport. How's that going?
It's going really well.
Yeah.
Tremendous. We beat our Wallingford opening, which was the goal.
That's awesome.
So
how long has it been open now?
It's been open since
Middle
October
of October.
16th or 14th. I
Yeah,
think.
that's cool. Yeah, it's pretty recent. Yeah, I went to the one in Wallingford and it was a lot of fun. And I had never been to another axe throwing place, but my friends that I went with had been to others, and they were like, "Dude, it's a lot of fun." And I think it was because a few people have told me about. We were talking about this too, how some of the other locations or businesses, they'll have like a guy following you around, kind of working with you the whole time.
Mm-hmm. They also will share lanes, so you would throw with 4 other people who have an appointment at the same time as you.
Like a different party?
Right, where all of our parties
Oh, wow.
are just private in the lane, because that's how we would want it if we were to go.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Right.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, because it was a lot of fun, and you're pretty separate from the other groups.
Right.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. And there's, bring your own beer and all that, or bring your own booze, whatever. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But I know you guys from the gym, and when I met you guys there, now you just rebranded.
Yep.
Or is that what you want to
Yeah, you
call it?
call it that.
Rebranding?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it was Ferraro's before, but when I met you, I think you hadn't bought it yet, right? You were still...
No, I
You were
bought
training,
it.
right?
I bought it July 2016, but I trained out of it for a couple years prior to.
Yeah. Oh, 2016.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I started going there in 2015. But it was funny because I felt like this immediate connection with you. I was trying to purchase my business at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're kind of like going through the same, bullshit. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I don't know what you went through with that, but I know you had been there a long time. So
Yeah, I started training there probably 2009, maybe.
So you were there for a
Myself,
while.
when I was about 16.
Mm-hmm. How'd you get into training?
So actually, how I got into training was initially I got out of high school and I just wanted to do that for me and not for other people. I felt other
Right.
people were going to ruin my life if I got them involved.
Yeah.
And went to college, signed up super late like a slacker to Gateway, and
I was the same way. It's all right.
the counselor,
Cringing.
I sit down with the counselor and I'm like, I'm going to take criminal justice classes or something and be a CO or just get some kind of job like that. She's like, well, you're late. They're all booked. So I'm like, I don't have anything else that I was thinking about doing.
Oh my God.
She's like, what do you like? I'm like, I like to lift. And she's like, well, you need to take classes on that. I'm like, She's like, trust me, I like to help people, so I'm a counselor. You should take these classes. And I took it and actually got a D in the class. My first time taking it,
Oh
Exercise
my
Science
God.
101 with Todd Degree at Gateway. He was awesome. Shout out to him.
That's so
and
cool.
But during that class, I talked to Claudio,
Yeah.
and who we know.
Yep.
And I said, Claudio, how'd you become a trainer? And he said, here's the different organizations you can do it through.
Yeah.
Order the book, study it, and take the test.
That's
so
sweet.
while getting a D in that class, I read the textbook for NASM cover to cover in a week.
Wow.
Took the test, passed it, and became a trainer. So I actually became a trainer at Club 24 and the one that moved from North Haven to Wallingford.
Yeah.
During a class about exercise science that I got a D in.
It's so funny because, I think most of my friends that are doing really cool stuff right now, same story. Everybody's got the same story. And it's like that cliche of like, oh, you got to go to school. You got to get a degree in something. Mm-hmm. But like, why are you doing that? And then once you find your passion, what you love, all of a sudden it's like you have the drive because it's what you want. So like I was basically failing out of Central. It was terrible. I was playing in bands. We were coming back at like 3 a.m. from New York. I was playing in New York City 3 nights a week. So I basically, sorry, Mom and Dad. I don't think they know. I basically got kicked out of there.
out.
Oh yeah. So, and then I didn't know what I wanted to do. My father mentioned landscape architecture, which I didn't end up doing. But I like the design work. It's 2 totally different businesses. But and once it like that clicked, I went to school. I was getting straight A's. Like I had never gotten straight A's in school ever. Mm-hmm. So it's like once you find what you like and you just go for it, that's so huge. And I wish school, like growing up public school, middle school, high school, I wish they taught you that or put more emphasis on that rather than just, hey, you got to go to college and get a degree. You know, I think I wish there was a way to kind of let kids find their passion earlier. You know, instead of going into debt first and then going, oh, I hate this. Why am I doing this?
I feel like it's tough to know yourself enough at 17, 18 years old to make that kind of a decision where like I kind of just got
so hard.
Life kind of threw me into it.
Right.
And I was just lucky enough that Claudio was in reach and I knew he was doing it. So I was just like, hey man, what do you got to do it?
Yeah.
He told me, and then from there it's off to the races.
Yeah, that's just crazy. I'm impressed that you did that, you know? Like were your parents super important? I don't know, like your guys' background or history, but like were people like influential or supportive for you guys with this or not really?
I have had somewhat of a rough upbringing.
Yeah.
I was pretty much on my own at a young age, having to make decisions as like a 16-year-old. Yeah. Jesus. So I kind of, that's why I just ended up there, and I was just lucky enough that when I want to do something, I'm not afraid to do it.
I was gonna say, yeah. So,
but there wasn't much guidance or support on that end.
Yeah.
No discredit to them, but
yeah, no, you guys.
It's just what it was.
As a team, you guys seem like pretty fearless to me, which is awesome. It's like super. It's influential to me, you know, because I question everything I do. So that's just who I am. But I don't know if you guys kind of have the same thing going on, or you just.
We are actually polar opposites.
Are you really?
Yeah. So.
That's good because it balances
it's
out.
It's really good. Yeah, we got lucky in that aspect where he wants to do everything, and I kind of slow him down a little bit, and we talk about he's like the visionary, I'm the executor, so he has all these ideas, and I'm the one that makes them happen. And
that's cool.
Yeah, Graham, our partner at Blue Ox, is a little bit like that too, where him and Jerry will go off for a day about ideas.
That's fantastic.
And it's great, but the reality of getting those things done sometimes is a little bit
it can be a challenge. So you kind of like bring you back down.
She cleans up.
Yeah,
she cleans up. For sure.
And I'm finding, I was going to ask you guys this, but were you kind of, do you think you were born like entrepreneurs, or do you think you kind of just evolved into this and like it's something you figured out?
You go first.
I think that I would say that I somewhat always was one. I was always money-minded. And then growing up through high school with no money, it was even more money-minded, where I had to find different ways to get back to school clothes or do whatever I had to do to get by. So from there, I was very lucky that I met my mentor, who's an accountant in town in Wallingford. And I met him because he was a personal training client of mine, and I was lucky enough to find him at a time where he took my ambition, my drive, my ability to just shoot from the hip and try things, and kind of gave it some direction. Here's how actual business works, not just making money or doing what you have to do to get by. Here's how you actually organize it. Here's how you form a company. Here's how you keep the books.
Putting the pieces together.
Exactly. Getting the organization part down. That's always been a weakness of mine.
I think it's a weakness of mine too, to some degree, and I think it's always going to be a learning experience, no matter what. I know people have been in business 30 years and they're still figuring that stuff out. I think it's just always going to be a constant,
improve on that.
Constant process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's tough. What about you? You just kind of...
I wasn't that way at all. So I went the route of college degree. And then I was working in insurance at a 9-to-5 job. And
what'd you do in college?
Communication.
That's cool.
Actually, I wanted to be an athletic director. And then my senior year of college, they said that basically you have to be a teacher to be an athletic director now.
Yeah.
So I just switched my major senior year to communication because it was the only thing I could get done in a year.
Did you do sports?
Yeah, I played soccer.
Soccer? Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So you didn't end up doing that.
No, I ended up going into insurance because I had a part-time insurance job during college to pay for it. And then I was around Jerry because I could work from home for my job. And just seeing him and what he did became contagious. Yeah. So I ended up leaving. We started the design shop to supplement my income. And from there, it's just been... My strengths, I think, really help his weaknesses.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys... It always... amazed me how you guys make an awesome team, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, and what I appreciate is everything you do like 100%. Like there's no
halfway.
No, it's awesome. So that's huge, and I don't know. I take inspiration from that, and on those shitty days. I'm like, oh, they're doing it. I gotta get. All right, I gotta just deal with this. Yeah. That always helps too. But the design shop. I like you guys just jump in. It seems fearless to me, and it's funny because I never grew up that way. I grew up the complete opposite. It was like, hey, go get a degree because you have to.
Right.
Doesn't matter what it is. That bummed me out. But I was the first person to go to college, like for all of my family.
You had the opportunity, so you got to do something, right?
And with my family, it was like, all right, you go get a job and you stay there for the next 45 years of your life.
Right.
And that's,
they'll take care of you. And
my father's been at the same place for 43 years. So, it's kind of what you did. That's not realistic anymore. Plus, I don't want that. But I've been lucky enough to have some really great clients that pushed me and gave me good advice, and I was so nervous to like go out on my own just because it's like, oh, what, you have all these questions in your mind. And what I figured out was these are things that were ingrained in me from when I was a kid. They're not actually my fears, they're fears that were adopted or learned, you know? And then you got to kind of step outside of that, and that was super scary for me. But then like once you take that leap, you're like, oh, I should have did this like 10 years ago. That was so stupid. You know?
I'm one of 5 kids, and my dad was self-employed, and he's a painter, so it's seasonal, so there would be busy seasons and not so busy seasons. And I remember the not so busy seasons, paying for 5 kids wasn't great. So I had a lot of apprehension going on my own too.
Well, I was kind of the opposite with that, where I never had anything, so...
You're just hungry. You're like...
To me, but also to me, it was like, what's the worst that could happen? I'm broke like I've always been?
Yep.
It's just another day.
Yeah. Well, one of my clients put it the same way. We were over there on a Saturday doing some work, and I confided in him a lot, and he's a pretty successful guy, and I really appreciate his advice. But he goes, listen, what is the worst that's going to happen? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I own a house. I'm married. A lot, pretty much. He's like, you ain't going to lose your house. He's like, you work way too hard. You're like too dedicated to what you do. You care. And he's like, and besides, like, say you do, for some reason you have a problem, there's always a way around it. He's like, there's always a way to solve that problem.
Right.
He's like, so what are you worried about?
One of the things...
he just put it into perspective. I'm like, oh, I'm being so irrational right now.
One of the things my mentor said to me in the beginning was, would you bet on yourself? And I'm like, 1,000%, I think I can do it. And he's like, well, what are you worried about?
Right.
You know, and that's how he's like, I'm the same way. I'll bet on myself any day. If it's the right fight, I know I can win.
It's funny because I've heard that before. With him, it struck a different nerve, and like it made sense. But I've heard it before, and until you've experienced it, you don't really understand it. Now looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, 1,000%. I should have did it a long time ago.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and it just makes total sense. You know, I wish I had made that leap a long time ago.
When did it first start popping in your head?
I don't know. So actually,
did you start working for those guys that you worked for when I met you early?
Yeah. So day one, it's a funny story. I don't think I've ever told this story, but day one when I walked in, so I had my own business up until then, but I was working by myself. It was killing me. I ended up with 2 torn meniscus. I had
one-man
surgery.
show.
Dude, it was killing me. I was pumping out work, but like I was beating the shit out of myself.
Yeah.
And I just got tired. And I was like, listen, let me go work for somebody. I could totally manage a business and work. Like, because I like doing the work phically.
Yeah.
I'm not a desk guy.
But smart enough to be able to manage at the same time, too. Be really valuable for a company.
And, dude, they were the first people I called. First people. I had no idea who they were. I saw their name somewhere. I called them. They're like, yeah, come down. So I came down. I pulled in. I talked to them for like 5 minutes. And when I left, I'm like, I'm going to buy this place. Like, I just, like...
just had a feeling, right?
Yeah, I mean, I bought my own part of it that I slowly developed. But... I just had this feeling. I just saw the opportunity. And like from that day on, it was a whole like mind frame shift, like a whole paradigm shift. I don't know. It was just weird. Like up until that, I felt a little lost. And like that moment, I was like, nope, this is it. And yeah, I just went for it. So that was big. But I worked like 6 years for him, and then over 2 years, I ended up buying it out. And
crazy how long that process takes, right?
You probably thought, oh my god, I thought it was going to be like a month or two. I'm like, by next January, I'll be going. Yeah, it was like 2 year process. It was a nightmare, but and we're friends. Imagine if we weren't. You know, like I've known these guys forever. So yeah, that could be. I could see how it could turn nasty too. Yeah, it's kind of scary. I don't know how it went for you. Was it like...
For me, I've always been a serial entrepreneur. So for me, when I originally first wanted to buy the gym, it didn't work out. And tried again, got the carrot dangled a little bit, didn't work out again. And I said, fuck this, and bought a food truck. And we started a food truck
so
business.
Funny. How'd that work out?
We had some fun summers.
We had some fun summers, but it was a grind for sure, and we definitely weren't seasoned enough to be able to grow it at that point. We didn't have the skill set required that I think now we'd have a better shot. But,
it's so funny.
Right after the gym went through, and I bought the gym too. So it was managing those two things, and then we had a third partner in that, and she had a child and was the main caregiver for the child.
Yeah.
So Maggie ended up just dying. Yeah. And then we all kind of decided that, like, as much fun as we had, we can't keep doing this. Yeah. It's not sustainable.
That's hard. Yeah, I could see that being hard to balance. And it's funny you mention that because I'm slowly starting to turn into like a serial entrepreneur. I think I'm driving my wife around. So like I almost I like the risk now. You know, like I almost enjoy it. But they're like calculated risks. Like I don't just jump into anything. You got to do research and you got to plan it out, and there's always a way to do it. But I like having other things to occupy my time and other things to focus on and build. It's fun. And actually working on something with my in-laws right now. So.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so that should be fun. We'll see what happens, but so now it's like become this contagious thing.
And once you get the formula too, it's your likelihood of being successful is a lot more. I think if we didn't do all the things that we did before, we wouldn't have the success we had now.
No, and
learn how to play your position.
Right, and I see how much you guys have done with the gym in just a few short years. I mean, that gym always had like a really cool vibe. There's no other vibe like that around here, but it was out of date. And you guys and you started trying to kind of keep that, but like also update it and bring new people in. I don't think he was trying to grow it all. To knock him, I think he was just on his way out, and that's kind of what I was dealing with. With the other guys. Mm-hmm. It's just too totally different mind frames. I came in, I was 25 working for them, and they're in their 50s. So it's like,
the beginning.
One guy wants to go, the other guy's like, hey, listen, I want to wind down here. I ain't trying to take anything on.
Yeah.
So, that could be a little challenging. But, I was going to ask you, because what made you guys make the move with the gym? Like changing the name and all that?
Really, it just became an issue of what are we going to do with this? There's a lot of love for it from us, from the members that we have, but it's not sustainable and it's not something that we can rely on. And it didn't feel like we were winning. We kind of were tied. You know?
Yeah.
So
just kind of like maintaining status quo.
Yeah, and from there, I had a buddy of mine who's our third partner now, Evan. Mm-hmm. And me and him have always kept in touch since high school. And he's a trainer as well. Yeah. By trade. Only he went to Central for that.
Oh, cool.
And so from there, me and him just kept in touch. And then I just had the idea one day of what if we changed our business model a little bit, went with this route, started drawing some things up. And I was like, Max, do you think we should have a conversation with him? Right. That's normally where she's either like, stop, you're a psychopath. Or it's like, okay, let's see that through. Yeah. And she was like, let's hear it out. So we met with him and we offered him to work something out where he would come on the team, give him some equity, and we all would work together and start providing more services, because that's what the gym was lacking. Yeah. You just
basically came in and worked out.
And I always had personal training. So to me, I always had a personal training income. So I always had an income. But the gym itself could never grow into something bigger than me.
Right, because it's just memberships.
Exactly. So from there, we chose that model because it's tough in fitness where pretty much now you're either a huge multi-million dollar facility with 10,000 plus members, or you're a small boutique with a lot of certain services that fit what your clientele want. And that's what we're going towards more is allowing some open membership and still allowing our core group to do what they do.
That makes sense.
But getting new people in and trying to offer them services and getting them more fit and trying to transform from just
that's huge.
A Pinzer gym where people came in and lifted some weights and got out to now a more fitness-bound facility that offers more than just 155-pound dumbbells.
Yeah, you guys had that niche. It was like just big dudes coming in. Like it wasn't just them. I mean, I went in there and it's like I wasn't throwing up huge weights or anything. It's not me, but so you kind of got to ride that line of retain those people and then get the new people in the door, the younger people, like strength and conditioning stuff. That's,
Exactly.
That's huge.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's so huge right now.
Yep.
So it'd be stupid not to get into that. Yeah. Are you guys offering other stuff yet, or?
So we're offering strength and conditioning type classes.
Yeah.
You know, some warm up, some strength work, some skill work, and then some metabolic conditioning work. So pretty much some circuits involving rowers, bikes, resistance included as well. And then now we're going to be launching some athlete classes, working with youth athletes around the area,
sweet.
Getting them into the facility, working together as a team amongst different athletes in different sports and age groups, and providing that service to them as well to try and get them in there 2 to 4 times a week, whatever it may be, to get better.
And you know what? This is going to help reduce some injuries, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know if coaches are necessarily doing all that stuff.
It's getting way better as time goes on, but I think it's still got a little ways to go, for sure.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, I know. You see these kids even getting up into high school and college, and then, their careers just, there's no longevity.
Exactly.
So many injuries. And just a little bit of strength training and mobility and stuff. I mean, it's huge. Yeah, it's cool.
Teaching them how to move is the business. Teaching them how to move.
Connecting everything.
Right.
Yeah. Now, is Evan kind of running that, or you guys?
So Evan's running all the services. Me and I love programming. That's like my weird niche as a trainer. Is I love strength programming.
That's cool.
So I definitely chime in and we go back and forth on that, and I'm kind of overseeing the operations of it. And then he's the person who's face to face providing the services, working with the people, coaching them through. We take class 5 times a week.
Yeah, I see you guys in your stories.
We're
We're getting after it with them and really cool. being all in on it, including as members.
That's cool too. And and to block off some time for yourself is
vital.
I can't.
It's hard.
I struggle, and I don't know how you guys do it with like all these businesses.
We just started. We gave a lot, like in our life aspect over the past 2 years.
We give everything. Yeah.
I can only imagine.
So finding balance back in our lives starting in January.
It's huge.
Yeah,
we're month 2 of balance.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and I'm starting to figure that out too. I tend to burn myself out, and then I'm like, oh Christ, what am I doing? And it's because I don't make time for myself. You know, like the drums are always a huge part of my life. I haven't played in over a year, and that is not me. It's just like I was so focused, and I don't know about you guys, but like when I'm focused on something, I can't really focus on too many other things. It's like I don't even want to be bothered.
Right.
Like, it's just not important to me right now. Other people, they can kind of multitask and like drop this and go move on to the next thing and enjoy that. I can't. I'm just thinking about
I would say Maggie's a lot better with that than I am, but I'm definitely an all in or all out kind of person. I don't see the point of doing something once a week.
Right.
Where now I'm trying to find that balance of like, it's okay to not be like, I'm going to drum so hard today that I'm going to be on stage tomorrow and I'm going to get after it. We're getting the band back together and I always try to build too fast. Yeah. Rather than being like, I just love to do it, so why don't I do it once a week?
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, and you touched on something too, like just getting that balance back. So that client I was telling you about who's helped me a lot, he called me one Saturday. I think I was getting my truck washed. It might have been a Sunday, actually, because Saturdays I'm working. I was getting my truck washed, and the phone rang. It was him, and I answered. I said, hey, what's up? And he was like, hey man, I was thinking about you. I said, oh, what's up? And he's like, I've been doing this a long time, and it was great advice. That's why I want to get this out there. But he's like, when is enough enough? Like, you need to figure out what your lifestyle, what do you want your lifestyle to be? Mm-hmm. I was like, I never thought about that.
Right.
And he's like, you got to figure out like what you want, and then say like, is that feasible? And like, can I do that? Because he's like, you could just work, and then like, what are you making all this for? Like, especially once you have a family. Like, he's got 4 kids. He had them like back to back, and he wants to spend time with his family. Now, he's like a younger guy, but he took on a partner and kind of like cut back for that reason. Like, he could have definitely kept going on his own and been making probably more than he is now for sure.
Mm-hmm. But with no life.
But like with no life, right? You're working crazy days, and so it really put things into perspective. And I was like, it just makes a lot of sense. And like, I worry about saving for retirement. Everybody worries about that. But like, for me, retirement's always been like, for what? Like, what am I going to do? Go sit in my house? Like, oh my God, I would kill myself. Like, there's no freaking way. Like, I got to do something. Hell yeah. Like, retirement is such a pipe dream. It's like, I don't know like who made it up, but like, now when I hear people talk about it, it makes me cringe.
Yeah, we have.
So I'm like, what?
4 hours off, and we're like, what do we do with 4 hours? I couldn't imagine.
To me,
40
4 hours
years.
is like a weekend off.
Yeah. And I know we're young, and like if anyone older watches this, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, wait and see. But like, I don't know. I don't know. Anyone I know who's retired and like doesn't have anything to do, they just seem lost, and they just don't seem healthy, and they don't. You gotta have something. So, like he was saying, you know, you don't necessarily have to save and like put money away and like go crazy with that. He's like, if you model your business correctly and put the right people in the right places, you love what you do. So you can essentially run that for a very long time, you know, until you're basically dead. Right. He's like, if you want to, you know,
right.
And you just step back and then have the right people in place. I had never thought about that. You just feel all this pressure from society. Like, I got to save money. And it's, I don't know. I'd rather, like you said, bet on myself, put the money back into my business. Like, that's the other thing. I see a lot of people buying a lot of fancy stuff, and I don't know. I'd rather put that money back into my business right now. So, like, I don't know. You guys have like a similar. You seem like you're just all in. Like, just this is what we're doing. We're gonna grow this, and I don't know. It's.
I had one close friend of mine the other day after we had all the success we had in Blue Ox, probably a couple months ago, not the other day. Yeah. But it was like, you know, when you guys gonna get a bigger house?
Yeah. For what?
And to me, we have a yard.
Yeah.
I didn't have a yard after 14 years old.
Yeah.
Up until recently. So to me, I'm like, that is fancy for
this
me.
Is awesome.
We're living it up.
I'm winning, and I'm
dogs
like
are
the
having a good
cheapest
time.
house you can buy around here. And but I have a yard. I got 3 dogs in a yard. I'm straight.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in that, and it's funny when you think about it. A house really nowadays. Sorry, realtors. It's like
horrible.
It's not really an investment. I mean, it's better than. I don't know. I really don't know what it is, but like it's not. It's not necessarily an investment. It's not like a long term. Yeah, I mean, it's a liability.
You do the math; it doesn't make any sense.
So is rent.
Yep.
At least rent, you don't have to.
But is it worth it? And I think a lot of times, like with buying the fancy things, there's some people who are just into fancy things.
Yeah.
That's what makes them happy.
Yeah.
But they know themselves though. It's when you do something like that and you're doing it because you feel like you're supposed to, because you have a little bit of money burning a hole in your pocket.
Right.
Like, I need to do something to show people or whatever it may be because I feel like I'm supposed to, rather than like I'm actually really interested in sports cars, or I'm actually really interested in a nice purse or whatever it may be. You have to. I think you have to actually like be interested in it.
Yeah, there's a difference between doing something because it's like it's a small, not getaway, but like it's how you burn off steam, like the gym, or if you like something, like say you like fast cars and you like you're like super obsessed with that. All right, fine. Like if that's your way to enjoy a Sunday, fine. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy to. Oh, I need to have this new table because it's what everyone's doing right now. Right. Or like I need to change these floors or.
Yeah.
It always made me crazy. Like we just did our kitchen, but it was because I had a business deal that I was working on, and we were gonna have to maybe sell our house, and our kitchen was so out of date. And the realtor was like, "Listen, you gotta do something." I was like, "Shit!" So like I had my buddy come in, and he did it, and he did a great job. But yeah, that deal ended up falling through. So
Yep.
I don't know. I'm like, shit, I just pissed away all that money. And it's like, but in the end, I mean, I guess it does add value. But I was never worried about it. Didn't ever think about it, you know. So I don't know. I'd rather just put that money back into the business and, you know, grow that.
Our long-term plan has always been to build wealth or money, to then continue to build wealth and money passively, and not to like spend it now, I guess, for lack of a better term. So
to me, it was always like a comfort thing where I grew up struggling, so I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to see the people around me have to struggle, and seeing money as the main problem all the time, where I just wanted that problem to be solved. To me, it wasn't so I could get fancy things or do anything like that. And not saying that I never will or whatnot, but for us, it was always kind of we grew up we grew up without much, so for us, it's like we just want to not have to worry about it. You know, the freedom. Yeah, we're chasing the freedom more so than the glitter and the gold.
Yeah. Now, do you guys find like like you made this move with the gym, right? Is there like a weird feeling that you have after you do it? Like, okay, what's next? Or like,
don't bring it up.
Yeah.
So me and Evan were down there doing what we had to do to get the gym ready for.
It took us 3 months of our own labor.
All day, every day.
I saw all your posts. I'm like, God damn.
And
I give you guys a lot of credit for that.
And
it was brutal.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
After that was done, it was kind of like I'm used to waking up, going to Dunkin', grabbing a sausage, egg, and cheese and a coffee, get a Red Bull for the middle of the day.
Like frame walls.
And we're just going to do what we got to do.
Paint.
Yeah. Yep.
Keep it pushing. And once that wasn't it anymore, there's definitely a period of reset where I don't think it's like as simple as you just wake up and you're like, glad that's over with. Let me move on with my life.
It's funny because I didn't really understand. I understood the premise, but not actually how it feels. The whole, like, it sounds like a cliche, but like the journey. It's more about the journey than the.
Yeah. Yep.
What is it? More about the journey.
Destination.
Yeah.
Right?
So, but that's really it. Like, you have this goal. All right, I'm building this new gym. Mm-hmm. So like you work like crazy, you love it, you're having a good time. It's also tiring, but then like once you get it, you're like, oh, all right, well I need to do the next thing.
Yep.
What's the next move?
Mm-hmm.
So that seems, I think that's what that's all about.
Right.
I guess to some degree.
I think we're trying to slow down a little bit after 2 years of every 3 months opening something new.
I think it's been more than 2 years. I mean, you guys have been grinding as long as I met you, and that was like, like 2015, 16-ish, Yeah, I think I remember when you went over to the gym full time. Yeah, that's crazy. Even with the clothing and the design shop, that was.
This is insane.
You were working hard. I mean, that was. I don't know how
I
you
died.
did it. I don't know how you did it.
I died.
She gave her soul to the press.
I did.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not really worth the return on certain things.
It was fun.
It just takes. Yeah, no, you guys. Listen, like I said, when you guys do something, you do it like 100%. Like you guys were probably the best print shop around. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've just started going to other places now just to kind of like get new stuff done, and it's just like, ugh. Mm-hmm. Like it was so easy. I just text you and you're like, all right, yeah, I got it.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, it was like, holy shit. But yeah, that's I don't know. I just really respect how you guys go after things, So with Blue Ox, because we've been talking about the gym, Blue Ox how did that start?
So
I don't know if I did ask you that, right? I think we've talked about this.
So pretty much to recap, I was told no more businesses.
This was in December we had the conversation.
This is before Blue Ox?
Yeah, before December 2017 would have been the year. Whatever year we opened it.
I don't know, we were working.
December previous, I said, no more businesses. Yeah. This year, we're not doing anything. We're going to grow what we have. We had the gym. We had the design shop. We're doing them full time. They were a lot to handle.
They were already enough on our plate.
They were 60-hour-a-week jobs. Mm-hmm. So, that was December.
Yeah.
Fast forward to...
So, March hits, and our third partner in Blue Ox, my buddy Graham, I was a groomsman in his wedding. Mm-hmm. So, bachelor weekend is Minneapolis, Minnesota, college hockey, Frozen Four.
Yeah.
We go out there, and he went to an axe throwing place in Washington, D.C., which is where he lives now with his wife.
Okay.
And he loved it so much, and from there he knew that his group of groomsmen that are all psychos like him would love it as well. So we pull up there, which was awesome because he played D1 football, and everybody was an offensive or defensive D1 lineman, and they were all 9 inches taller than me. So that made for great groomsmen photos. It was nice they let a little kid in there. I appreciated that. And then from there, we do it, and he looks at me, a few Bud Lights in or whatever it may be, and goes, we should put one in our hometown. He's from Wallingford, just like me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, sure, Graham. I mean, you're an entrepreneur. I'm sure you get it all the time. Like, oh, like, what about a bar? What about this? Let's do that. And I'm like, you say that because you think you're just going to throw a couple dollars my way, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make magic happen and flip you back all this money. And so I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. And I brush it off, and then he hits me again about it during our session there. And then his dad thought it was a good idea. His family friend, RW, thought it was a good idea. And I was like, you're serious? He goes, yeah. Sense. I'm like, you'll put money up? He goes, I'll put money up. So I'm like, all right, careful what you wish for. Plane ride home, I wrote down 93 questions that needed to be answered in like a business plan template. That if we get these 93 questions done, we can open. And then
was this something you came up with? Or
yeah, I just typed it all out on the plane ride home.
Yeah.
Landed, hit him with it, said, all right, hope you're ready. Yeah. We got on the phone once a week to chop away at it,
Yeah.
answer as many questions as we could with the time we had. And then we opened, was it May or June?
August.
We opened August.
These questions that you
We
have,
signed the lease in May, that's what I'm thinking.
were they questions that you just made up, or like did you find this in like a
They were all questions that, so I started with more broad questions, like
Right.
how are we going to market this?
yeah.
Who's going to be our client?
Right.
And then from there, I had probably like 10
who's
or
your
so
demographic?
categories.
Yeah.
Then I broke every category into 9 to 10 questions.
That's awesome.
Breaking it down even deeper. And then I knew that it was pretty much like I was playing devil's advocate with myself of like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? What about that?
Right.
Until I couldn't poke any more holes into the plan. And then from there, we get the lease signed.
That's the
2
work.
months later.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, and that's the work that I think a lot of people don't understand. There might be people out there that want to start a business, but they don't know how. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. I mean,
there is no definite way.
But
There's
those
no
are the ways.
bulletproof
Like
plan.
all the things that you're kind of thinking in the back of your mind, those are the things you got to act on.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the questions you probably just had in your head. You just wrote them down, and it's like once those are answered, it makes sense.
Right.
You know, so that's huge, and I hope that helps some people.
Yeah,
like
I had to
hearing
sell
that.
her on it too.
Yeah.
I said, that's the dumbest idea ever. So I was in risk prevention in insurance, and he came back and said we should open an axe throwing venue that allows BYOB.
Oh, Christ.
It was my worst nightmare. I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then,
like, no, trust me. And I did the math, and I realized that, if we only saw X amount of people per week, it would be profitable enough that it was worth doing.
Yeah,
and
how
then
much
we
the insurance
came out.
must be insane.
insanity.
It was very high the first year.
Yeah.
It was, 3 times what we had budgeted for.
Yeah. And we actually, it's funny, my mentor, I was training him actually at the time when Maggie came in and was like,
Yeah.
this is the insurance down payment,
Yep.
which is pretty much what we thought the whole year was going to be,
Yeah.
about 25%. And he looks at me and smiles. And she's like, well, what are we going to do? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, this would be the time to quit if there was a time to quit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did my due diligence. I still think it can work. Like, let's find a way to make this happen. Mm-hmm. And we did. And he brings it up to me like once a month now. Like, imagine if you quit that day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That would have been the day to quit.
Sometimes if you know it's gonna work, you just kind of gotta take that leap. You know, it's a little scary, but yeah. I mean, I see what I don't know what it's like, but I know my workman's comp ain't cheap. So
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
yeah, so I deal with that, and it's the umbrella policies and stuff are just insane. So for what we do, but yeah, that could be a little scary. Same with payroll, taking that on.
Luckily for us, we're only open on
28.
prime hours. We're open like 28,
Yeah, so
29
it's
hours
not-
a week.
That's
Right.
not terrible.
No, it's
yeah.
not. And then we have one full-time manager, and everyone else is essentially a
Part-time. employee.
part-time
That's cool.
minimum wage. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
beneficial.
terrible. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets expensive fast with overtime and all that.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just part of the business, when did you open up the one in Wallingford? It was like a year or two ago now?
It was August 2018.
2018. And then Bridgeport was relatively recent.
October 2019, yeah.
Okay. Did you start working on that right away?
So, pretty much Wallingford through, I would say, January.
Mm-hmm.
From August to January was when we were like, this is really real. This is changing our lives.
Cool.
So from there, we were like, we could easily double down on this and do it again. And we scouted out some different towns throughout the state and whatnot. And
Scalable. It's a good
Exactly.
model, yeah.
and from there, tried a few different towns, field them out. Sometimes it's a little awkward because they don't know what we are, what we do.
Right.
And it's such a new industry. Where Wallingford is super business friendly. So
They are,
the
yeah.
funny story with Wallingford, I got I think the economic developer would be his title. I got his number, gave him a call, told him what I wanted to do, told him where I was looking at opening a place. He goes, yeah, you're good.
That's awesome.
And I was like, so BYOB too though, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, an axe throwing at the same time.
Can we get this in writing right now, please?
Yeah.
Just sign right
And
there.
he's like, yeah, you're good. Like that area suits what you want to do. You should be good. He goes, we don't have a rule against it. So do what you do. And then from there, a week
That's
went by and
awesome.
I said, no. he's got to be messing with me or something. Let me call him again. I call him again to confirm.
It was too easy.
And we were lucky that it wasn't so easy in Bridgeport. Bridgeport, we had to do a zoning hearing.
I can imagine.
Luckily, our landlord is awesome. His team is great, and he's a big dog over in Bridgeport and deals a lot with that type of stuff. He's a building developer over there.
Are you guys close to Fairfield, sort of?
So we're actually closer to Stratford.
Stratford.
So we're a mile away from 2 roads.
Both? Oh.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah.
No, because you got a great market down there, and to go into Fairfield probably would have cost you twice as much.
That was the issue, was the other Fairfield County towns didn't have the real estate that fits our business model.
Oh, it kills
Then
you.
that's the toughest part, is that you don't necessarily want retail space, depending.
No.
There's certain situations it can make sense, but it's tough with the retail space where you'd rather be where the breweries are, which is in the light industrial
Yeah, you need
sections.
industrial,
But some towns have heavy industrial and then retail,
right?
Or they don't have any industrial and just retail, and that's where it gets tricky, is finding a building that matches the height we need, the size we need, for the price we need.
Yeah,
and a landlord that's willing to let us come in.
And do that, yeah.
And a forward-thinking landlord is always...
Is there liability on their part? I guess so. It's their property, but
kind of, they're an additional insured on our policy, so if anything were to happen, it'd come back to us. So
right, yeah.
But none of the major axe throwing venues in the country have had a true claim yet. So
no, I mean it's like the first thing they're like, oh geez, that's dangerous. I'm like, yeah, but not really. I mean, it's set up.
Compared to a gun range.
Yeah, like what are you comparing it to? Yeah,
Right.
People walking around with guns that definitely probably shouldn't have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like, yeah, it just makes sense. But it's a good. It seems like it's taken off, and it's especially with the whole beer and wine thing, it's so huge right now.
Right.
Yeah, that's big. And now you were saying there's other places out there in the country that they'll do like a bar.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's one in Connecticut that does that as well.
Is there a reason why you guys just did BYOB, or like was it just part of your model?
So for us, how I look at
Probably
it,
more fun that way.
exactly. I look at it. You can bring what you want.
Yeah.
And to me, in my position, how I think is, I would rather go somewhere more often and be able to bring a 6-pack, take a date, go out to dinner after, and be in the night for $100 for everything, rather than just being out of axe throwing for $100 for 2 people. And that was the biggest factor to me. And also, it was faster and more streamlined.
Yeah.
Which for us, we were looking for speed when we first opened.
That makes sense.
We just really love the model and how it's worked for us.
Yeah. And now, and then I don't know if we talked about it, but the franchising. So you guys just recently started offering franchise options.
Yep.
That has just like, when you told me you were doing that, I'm like, how the hell does this kid do that? Like, how do you figure that out? Like, where do you even begin? Like, do you go to a lawyer?
That was just having an amazing business partner, my friend Graham, where he's so detail oriented and does due diligence better than anybody I've ever met. Where he read like 3 books before he even approached us with it.
Huge.
Yeah.
And he sold us on that we should do it, and that was going to be his thing, because he was mostly a silent partner up until that point, where we ran the show. He gave us some seed money up front. He got his percentage kickback for that.
Well, and you got into a flow. You figured out what works, what doesn't. You made some adjustments already.
And we were the operators. Yeah. So from there, he was like, I just got this new job, this big company, and I don't like it. I wanna make myself wealthy, not other people. He felt like a high paid athlete rather than a team owner.
Yeah.
And he sold us on it and what he wanted to do with it, and he did all the research and figured it out. And we hired Franchise Marketing Systems as a franchise consultant.
They were great.
And they were tremendous. Chris Connors and his team were awesome. He's such a great guy.
That's cool. And
so working with them, he felt like a part of our team from the get-go. And it was funny because in typical standard of how we work, he hits us up and goes, yeah, this is going to take, what did he say, 6 to 9 months to put together? We said, nah, we're going to do it in 3. That's too fast. We're going to do it in 3. That's too slow. We're going to do it in 3.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah? And we're like, no, that's how we work. And he's like, we don't want to put too much pressure on you guys, is why we recommend a slower rollout. And we were like, not a problem. And then within 3 months, we were all set.
What's the difference?
Right.
I mean, just figure it out.
It was such a good match with them, though, for them to have us say we want it done a third of the time, and them to just all jump on. Yeah. So they work with subcontractors and employees, and they all just jumped on it and worked incredibly fast.
We had a call of like 12, 13 people, an introductory call.
The following morning.
He was like, all right, team, 3 months, we're doing it. And he told all his people, let's go. He routed them up and
that's so crazy.
Said, let's get down to it.
Now, how does that work? You have special licensing or something to franchise, or
There's a lot of documents that need to get prepared between a operations manual where you can give this huge, pretty much encyclopedia of how your business works to your franchisees to set them up to be able to refer to anything in operations.
Yeah. So it's basically your model, how it operates, all the procedures.
Yep. And then you have the franchise agreement on the legal end, the franchise disclosure document as well.
There are certain states, though. So certain states make you register to be able to sell a franchise there. Certain states don't care. So, for Oregon lets you sell a franchise there without being registered. Wow. Washington State doesn't. So, I don't remember how many there are that require registration.
I think it was like 2/3 to 1/3.
Yeah.
So you see who's interested, and if it comes up and somebody wants something, you apply.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And you get somebody through our pipeline, and luckily that Graham has that experience of how to deal with leads and work them through his funnel system.
Right.
Or knowing when it's time to register for a state, depending
and not
upon
just
how
registering because
serious.
the lead came in.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody is.
How does it work? So like, if somebody does buy in and they open up their own, how involved are you guys in like? How does that work? Setting it up?
Initially pretty involved. So they're responsible for setting up the facility. And then when we schedule the launch date, then we schedule them to come and train with us. And it's about a week that they train 8 hours a day with us in our facility to learn the general manager stuff, the back end owner stuff, Axe Master stuff, because they're going to be training their facility. And a couple weeks later, then we repeat the training just at their facility. So that way, when they open, everything's smooth.
Easy transition. Yeah. You kind of guide them through the build out and all that too, or
lots of communication.
That's one of the things that I do mostly is help them with.
I mean, you did it.
With planning the lease and the build out of the lease.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And really, I mean, they're a byproduct of us, so we need them to be successful just as much as they do.
You set them up for success.
Yeah.
It's like if they fail, it's no good for you guys.
We're as involved as we need to be. We don't want to be helicopter parents to them.
No, because
we want to be. We're not trying to micromanage, but we're trying to make sure they're successful. So whatever that takes, we have to do.
It's good you guys understand that fine line to ride. I think people just get too micromanagerial, and it just it never works out. It's like it's too much.
With our companies growing at a rapid rate like they have been, we've really learned that whole process of empowering your staff. You know, promoting somebody who deserves it faster, getting rid of people who don't match the culture faster.
That's huge.
And it doesn't make me any better by making you do something how I want it done. It makes me better by empowering my employees, my franchisees to use their tools that they already have in hand to be successful.
I ask my guys for their opinions on a lot of stuff. You know, sometimes they don't have business knowledge, right?
Yeah.
But they have hands-on knowledge. And we've worked together as a crew for years before I bought the business, and you know, now as an owner.
How many guys do you have now? 5.
But like 3 of those guys I worked with on a crew. I worked side by side with them, so we know as much as each other. But some days, especially if it's a new job, I'm like, listen, how do you want to approach this? You guys are doing the work, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and tell you how to do it, and then screw you all up. Like, do it how you makes sense to you. Get it done the right way, and without killing yourselves. You know, it just makes sense. Yeah, knowing when to kind of back off.
Right. I think we grew a lot with Blue Ox, and when it was the gym, it was me and him running everything, and then Blue Ox grew and we needed a general manager, and having someone grow with us and giving them more responsibilities. Yeah. And then being hands off with those responsibilities and allowing them to create their own systems and manage employees how they want, as long as the end result is how we want it.
And as long as you have the right person is the other thing. When you find the right person, give them all the power in the world. Yeah. And be there as a helping hand rather than a forceful hand.
You seem to hire the right people, because like I was saying, I went to Wallingford, and your boy there, I forgot who's
Joe.
Joe, yeah.
Yeah, he does a phenomenal job. I was super impressed with how he ran the place. He was just like on top, he was super friendly, everybody liked him. Yeah. I'm just like,
we're super blessed with having the right people in the right positions, and setting up your employees to win, where you have somebody with the right qualities in the right position, and they're able to play their position well, and you empower them to do so. Yeah. You end up successful.
Just makes sense.
Not to say that every hire has been the best hire, but learning from that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Yep.
And actually, that's what I was going to ask you guys something. I don't really do a lot of hiring. I'm trying to keep it small. I want to grow, but as it happens, I'm not into growth for growth's sake, for no reason, you know. Just doesn't make sense. But for me, I have a very sort of somebody just described it as like a white glove service, right? So it's like a higher end service. You got to have the right people who are detail oriented and good at what they do. So hiring makes me nervous because it's like I'm gonna go through like 10 guys before I find one, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you guys go about your hiring? I'm always interested to know how other people do it. Like screening people, and it's so hard.
So I'm a big fan, just from coming from the background that I come from, of hiring the right type of person with the right human being traits, rather than somebody who has 3 years landscape experience, who's dealt on these type of properties.
Less about credentials.
Obviously, that would be helpful, but it's your job as the employer to train these people.
Right.
So making sure you have the person with the right work ethic, the right personality that matches your culture.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Somebody who knows when to talk to people and how to talk to people.
You could teach them the skill.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't teach them their personality.
We can teach them how to throw an
Yeah.
axe.
Yeah.
They don't have to have
Absolutely.
axe master experience.
Yeah.
But we need them to be able to talk to people well and treat people
sense.
well and work well with their coworkers, because at the end of the day, our business is a smile factory. People come in, they hear the axe with the
They're there for a
wood.
good time.
It's a great
Right,
time.
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
it's not that a job doesn't come with challenges, but at the end of the day, it's about everybody having a good time, staff included.
Yeah. And finding the people that are, even when they're having a rough day or a busy day, they can still be friendly and personable and
Exactly.
do their job.
Right.
Yeah, that's tough.
Sadly, part of it is firing faster. Getting
Dude, I am
understanding
so bad. Yeah.
people interview different than they work sometimes
Yeah.
too, so that can be tough.
They do. There's always that guy, not to talk shit right now, but there's always that guy that comes in, it's like, I can do this, I can do that, blah, blah, and they just go on and on and on. Right then, I'm like, all right, this ain't going to work.
Yeah.
Just because I've worked with people like that before, and it's like, if you're trying to sell yourself that hard, there's something there.
Right.
Every guy, yeah. So it's the guy who usually, for me, it's usually the guy who's quiet but confident.
Yeah.
And just, yeah. Like
They're
good
not trying hard to
personality.
sell themselves.
Right. You
Yeah.
don't really. You shouldn't have to if you're good at what you do, or if you're the right personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
huge. I gotta start listening to my.
Now, do you have a crew leader? What is
Yeah,
the crew
so-
organized like amongst these 5 people?
So
Is there a
Benny,
hierarchy?
yeah, my lead guy Benny, he's been doing this for like 30 years, 25 years, something like that.
Yeah.
He started with another company years ago, and yeah, it's all guys that he's worked with for years. But he just, I trust him, and he's my right hand guy. Like if I need to ask his advice on a project or something, he's right there. We work very well as a team.
Yeah.
And I just try to treat everyone the way I would want to be treated, working somewhere. And I think that's huge. Because I've worked for other people, and it's not easy. And at the end of the day, a lot of people they're concerned with, they're just running their business. They're concerned about themselves, and their employees are just numbers, essentially. I see that a lot, and it's not good. And I know a lot of contractors out there and landscapers and all that stuff, and they seem to have nothing but complaints about their guys. And it's unfortunate because you rely on these guys to make you your money and to make your business successful. And it's partly on you to teach and guide and get them to where you want to be instead of complaining. Some people just don't learn. It's just who they are. But that's like you said, you got to learn when to fire faster and then hire the right people.
Right.
It's hard. And there's nobody teaching this stuff really.
No, it's experience.
Yeah, you got to figure it out.
I think one of the biggest things you can do as an employer is make everything your fault. So if your employee doesn't do what you want them to do, it's your fault because you didn't communicate it the right way.
I have days like that.
And
I'm like, oh wait, no, that's me.
Yeah.
And from there, you do everything in your power to set them up to be successful. And if you're sitting around complaining about your guys year after year, your guys are a reflection of you, so you're doing something wrong.
It's toxic too, because that resentment, those feelings, even if you're not verbally communicating them to anybody, they're there.
Oh, yeah.
And people pick up
The
on
customers feel it.
it. Dude,
1,000%.
Yeah. So it's all about positive energy and good vibes. And
Yeah.
just like doing whatever you have to get that.
I think one thing that we've started doing recently in the past year or so is we have a general manager sit in with us on interviews, or if they're conducting the interview, they have their assistant manager sit in. So then you get two people's perspectives on how they would fit in with the team, how they would fit in the role. And I think that having two people there, because two people's impressions can be completely different from the same interaction.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you pick up on different nuances. and they're going to be working with them,
right?
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
and we're all super biased and for different reasons.
Right.
So by letting all the ideas come together, it's not about my ego and me being right.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the mission and building the business and providing the service, and building that up allows us to work together as a team, because the team needs to come to the right decision. It doesn't matter who made it.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. So now, like with the franchises, is it up to them to do all their own hiring, or you guys kind of help them with that too?
We guide them.
Yeah.
We recommend that they hire a general manager to run the facility, so they don't have to be there on the weekend. And then,
Smart.
you hire 3 or 4 axe masters depending on volume. We have a demographic or kind of a profile built out for who you should be hiring, where they are at in life, what they have going on.
Cool.
And then we're always available for communication, go back and forth. We've offered to some of the beginning ones to sit in on interviews so we can give them feedback.
And I think a lot of it depends upon that franchise owner, how involved they want to be, and also, too, what strengths do they have? They might be a numbers person where they need a people person.
Right.
Exactly. Or vice versa.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people fail when they are hiring because they don't know what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. They think some magical guy's going to walk through the door and, oh, yeah, he's perfect. Mm-hmm. But if you don't know what you got to define what you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah. So having that, it's great that you have that set up, like the certain personalities and just, even the demographic. I've actually never looked at it that way, like where they are in life. Or I think most of the time you're just like, oh, I hope this perfect guy walks through, or perfect lady, whatever.
For us, our Axe Master jobs are an entry-level position.
Oh, that's cool.
So we have a decent amount of turnover because we hope that people aren't working for us at this minimum wage type job
a career
forever. Exactly. We're trying to get them some experience so they can get through college, or
that's huge.
They just got back. A lot of people we have are just back from the army or are in school, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm. It's a part-time gig too, right?
On the weekend,
like,
right?
So other than our managers, for them it's a stepping stone.
Makes sense. And it's a trainable position. It's not like they have to come into it
exactly.
skilled or,
if we're doing something wrong if they're with us for too long.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's good that you recognize that too. Yeah. Because then you can build your model around that, knowing that there's going to be turnover. We always got to be looking for these people.
For us, it's a very manager-based business. So like how you have Benny, that's how we have Chase and Joe, who are our right hands that allow us to do what we need to do.
Yeah.
And allow us to be successful, so that way it doesn't matter what roster of Axe Masters is on for that night of our entry-level positions.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be trained well from our management. So whether they've been there for 3 days or 3 months.
Do you guys do you define like a ladder for growth for these people, or is it just kind of
So Chase has been promoted twice, right, with us so far. So pretty much the more the company grows, the more people grow with us. We want people to be hired from within more so than out. So we're really looking to find and put people in our company in a new position as we grow.
Makes sense.
And every new facility that opens, there pretty much ends up being a new position that's open, whether dealing with more so with us at the corporate level or a new manager of facility. So we really like to bring our people from Axe Master to assistant manager to general manager to district manager, and hopefully as we keep growing, even higher and finding positions for them to help us grow the company.
That's the way to do it. My only reference right now is like the landscape world, but I know a lot of companies, and it seems like when they want say they want someone to manage something, they might have a guy that's been on staff for 15 years and he's been running a crew for all that time. He knows the business, and then they'll just go like, oh, this guy over here, he's been a manager for 5 years, and we're gonna hire him, pay him more. He comes in, the guy doesn't even know what the guys on the crew are doing. He doesn't even have that experience. So now he's trying to manage a crew that he doesn't even know what they're doing. Right. Oh, it's a nightmare. No, and then those guys hate him because he's making more money. It's a freaking nightmare. So for me, it's like just teach those guys, give them the bump, and then guide them. Right. Or train them. They already know the physical work. Show them how to manage it. Or, I think you'd be much better off. And plus, you want to retain people. And
taking that's been one of the coolest parts for us was, with me becoming an entrepreneur, it wasn't just to make myself really rich. It was
help everybody.
It was exactly that. Everybody that's around me gets more comfortable, and to be able to give somebody a good Christmas bonus or to be able to give somebody a promotion or a pay raise feels really good. And I think sometimes I'm happier than they are.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. It feels good to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1,000%.
My guys came over with me. I gave them all a good raise right off the bat because I worked with them. I knew what they were making, and I knew what the guys before me were. It'd been years since they had a raise, and they bust their ass day in, day out. Right. They were the only crew that come in on time and leave on time. They'd have no overtime.
How did you get to steal them away?
They're just because they do a different line of work. It was what I do, not what they do. Mm-hmm. When they bought a business, these guys just came with it and they didn't know what to do with it.
Now, were most of your guys, were they trained from the get-go with no experience, or?
I believe Benny originally, yeah. I mean, I think, but it was so long ago. Now he's got so many years of experience, right. and then he's a great teacher. The guys under him, he can. Just brought his son on this year. His son just came on. He's killing it already. There's some finer things that we do that it would usually take you a while to learn to do. Mm-hmm. And he had him doing it within a couple of days. And I was like, I showed up. I'm like, oh damn, he's already doing that. And Benny's like, I told you. I was like, oh, this is awesome. So, I was like, that's gonna be a while. I'm gonna have to, he's killing it. So, yeah, it's just finding the right people and
taking care of those people when you find
people that are motivated. Like him, I already noticed. He'll walk around at the end and he'll notice things that, oh, we forgot to pick this up or we missed this, and that's worth a lot. That's worth a lot.
I feel like empowering those motivated people is the other part too, because I'm the same type of person where, to me, being stagnant is miserable. Mm-hmm. It's worse than going backwards.
For sure.
So if I'm motivated and you're not giving me more, I'm just spiraling.
Yeah, the people that just phone it in every day, it's exhausting. It burns me out. I can't watch it, and then I start to resent them. And I'm like, I can't deal with this. So yeah, the people that want to learn and they want to grow, it's awesome. Mm-hmm. It affects everybody around them. That's huge. But so with the gym and Blue Ox, what do you guys for this year? What are your plans?
So for the gym, it's to really just keep building an established base of services. We just rolled out our strength and conditioning classes.
Cool.
So building those up and building that community, and then when we roll out the formal, we've had different athletes in so far, but rolling out this formal program and building that up. And then for Blue Ox, it's really just to keep growing the company at a sustainable rate. We want to grow it as fast as we can.
Right.
But we want to make sure that we're not losing ourselves in the process, and that we're running it how it needs to be run and the quality's still there.
That makes sense. That's cool. Yeah, I'm stoked to see what you guys do, and I love following you guys.
Same.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I like feeding off the people around me, and that's kind of why I started this, because I just connecting the dots and.
I think it's huge to be around like-minded people, even if it's not the same industry. There's still so many things that I could pick up from you. You could pick up from me. We both could learn from Mags.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's not the technical stuff. It's all just life.
It's the life stuff.
It's life.
Yeah.
Exactly. How to handle things.
And how to
make better decisions.
Yeah. Huge. I'm not good with balancing things, so I gotta get
We're trying to figure that out. So
I was on the phone 9:30 last night talking to Chris about the other show. And my wife's feeding the baby, and I'm like, and I got off the phone. I'm like, oh, it's 10 o'clock. Well, we're done. Yeah, so I gotta figure that out. But yeah, just knowing where to make changes and grow. Yeah, it's huge. But I'm glad I had you guys down.
Thank you so much for having us.
I feel like we could talk for like another 2 hours, so we definitely got to do it again or do something.
Yeah.
For sure.
Plugs, Instagram, what do you guys, your pages?
Blue Ox Axe Throwing on Instagram. Blue Ox Axe Throwing on Facebook. Cool. And then Forging Fitness on Instagram and Forging Fitness Connecticut on Facebook.
Okay, cool. Forging Fitness CT? Or
CT, yep.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you guys for coming down. This is awesome. Had a great time.
It's a blast.
It's great seeing you.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
I'd definitely like to have you guys on again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. It's Nick with the Indomitable Podcast, episode 2, and I'll see you guys soon.